Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm Zemo, the Dan DPS, and we're back with another episode of The Good, The Scrap, and The Script, a series where I review weapons I have found in Appalachia and see how well they do. And today's weapon is one I've never used before yet again. And yeah, I think it's time we... No. So, today's weapon is the British are coming. This is an aristocrat's power attack damage, 90% reduced weight. Revolutionary sword. Now, I've never really used revolutionary swords. There's a lot of one-hand weapons in the game, and I've just never really used a lot of them. So we're definitely going to see how well this one does in terms of how it looks. I'm not a fan, but you know, it's got electrified on there. We'll definitely see how it works. So yeah, let's take a peek at the build, and then we'll go from there. As I always state, take a picture, pause it, that's your look. So we come to Westech. Now, with your basic attacks on this weapon, I think you're not really going to get a lot out of this. Like, you're seeing it takes a lot of hits in order to kill even just a mutant. But with your power attacks, if you're landing a headshot, you can two-shot these buggers. So it is going to do some decent damage with the power attacks at the very least. With, you know, a non-headshot, it is a free shot with this weapon. And granted, when it comes to one-handed weapons, I'm not expecting them to do the same level of damage as a two-hander. But at the same time, it feels a little bit low in the damage side. I think if I was using the plasma cutter, for example, I feel like my basic attacks would be far more significant. And this is the kind of thing about quite a lot of one-handed weapons. Their damage is rather low for what they are, but at the same time, you know, you're going to be able to do stuff. If you're wanting to use one-handed weapons, this is something you could go down the route of using, but there's quite a few better options, and they are better for a multitude of different reasons. So I cannot, yeah, I feel like it's missing something. I just don't feel it's quite as good as a lot of other one-handed melees. I think it'll come to no surprise to anybody that we are currently at Jeff. Now, you're seeing with the power attacks, we are dealing some decent damage here. We are, you know, taking them down. It's not going particularly the quickest I've ever seen it go, but at the same time, we are dealing some decent damage, especially when we get those headshots. And this is the thing about, like, with this weapon, is because it's got slightly faster swing speed, you do have the chance of getting more hits in the right places, and it will take down Jeff. You know, we're doing it. He spent most of his time blocking there rather than actually fighting me, though. And we come to the Mirelurk Queen. Now, what I'm going to say about this is I don't intend to take this enemy down with this weapon. And the reason for that is that it's just not very good at what it does. It is a kind of slow and not very effective weapon at the method of what I need it for. This is going to take so long, and to give you a comparative weapon, now this is an anti-armor power attack. God, what's it called? Whatchamacallit? You know what it is, like the Blue Ridge Caravan branding iron. Like, in terms of like swing speed, because of the way this weapon is, it's just, I don't usually do this, but the comparison between how bad this the revolutionary sword is in comparison to the Blue Ridge is night and day. It has so many advantages over it. It's got just superior damage, it's got elemental damage on top of it, and on top of that, it's just a much more fun weapon to use. And again, this just seems to be lacking that wow factor that the Blue Ridge has. So with the video, we always come to expeditions. Now, I'm going to be honest, this weapon has been rather disappointing, to say the least. Now, granted, it's not doing the same damage as like a bloodied weapon because it is aristocrat, but at the same time, the damage isn't like drastically different. You know, it's not like night and day. we're still using a bloodied build for the most part, and we're only losing out on, 40% of the base damage of the weapon. So when I say that, I just feel like it's missing some wow factor. One thing I will definitely say, power attacks are definitely the way you want to go with this weapon. Its power attacks are far more effective than its regular attacks, because when you use regular attacks on this thing and you're not hitting a weak spot, it just feels like it's not doing enough damage. And even then, like, seeing like it's taken so many hits, even then, its swing speed isn't particularly fast either. It's not like as fast or as good as fist weapons. It just feels very underwhelming in terms of a weapon. And granted, I am spoilt for choice with melee. I am spoilt for using some of the best melee weapons in the game quite consistently. And this one is just, it doesn't really do any of the things that you would expect it to do really well. It's not got fast swing speed. Its power attacks are alright. They're not like ridiculous in comparison. So when it comes to this weapon and melee weapon, and even with like one-handed melee weapons, it just doesn't really meet the standards that I have for myself. So there we have the Revolutionary Sword. Now, when I talk about a lot of weapons, I talk about how they feel and how I think they are. And this one, it actually really disappointed me. I was thinking this weapon was going to be better than it actually is. Now, its swing speed, while I don't have faster swing speed on there, isn't the fastest to begin with. Its power attacks are decent, and it does some okay damage while power attacking, but it just feels like for the amount of power attacks you can get out of it, that you aren't really getting your bang for your buck with it. It just feels like it doesn't really do anything that you would expect it to do well. And in all classes of melee weapons, two-handed weapons have far more damage than this thing. They have a comparative swing speed as well, which is really disappointing. Like, this felt really slow and sluggish, even though it's a one-hander. And it didn't feel like it ticked any boxes. And I just feel like it's one of the few weapons that I can't recommend this to anybody. I can't recommend using this. It just feels bad to play with. In comparison to all the other myriad of really good melee weapons in the game, of which there are many. So yeah, kind of sad. Either way, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you next time in the Wasteland.
You hear him barking, you fear you're close to the end. Running through the night, shadows lurking round the bend. Heart pounding fast, adrenaline starts to flow. Can you survive the chase? Only time will let you know. Eyes lock in, the tension fills the air. Knowing that he's near, feeling his fiery stare. In the darkness, you must find a way to hide, but his roar echoes through the night. There's no place to confide. The hunter's roar, it's a melody of fear. He's lurking in